Thank you. I work for the Department of Education, and I've seen that there's quite a big difference between public versus private. And I was wondering if we're getting any sort of funding towards public education in the near future.
Might go, Mr Dutton, kick that one off.
Well, I think it's an incredibly important question, and it's important because parents have a choice to make, and whether that's for the public system or for the private system, we have supported both, and we support increased funding going into this election as well. And there's a position which is identical between the two parties in relation to funding for public schools and for private schools as well. I think it is important that parents are able to have that choice and that we can fund the infrastructure and that we can support teacher development and make sure that we've got an education system which is fit for purpose. We live in an incredibly competitive environment, and we need to make sure that the outcomes in our schools are meeting the standards and expectations of students and parents and teachers and educators more generally. And that requires money, it requires commitment, and I thank you very much for the great work you do.
PM?
Well, thanks very much, Monica, for your question, and I admire anyone who's a public school teacher. You do incredible work. And one of the things we've had to deal with is the last time government changed in Australia in 2013, in the 2014 budget, $30 billion was ripped out of public schools in that budget. $50 billion was ripped out of hospitals. And we've had to deal with that for a long time. You'd be aware way back, now more than a decade ago, there was the Gonski reforms, which were about giving, put simply, every child to get fair funding, so that if they fall behind, they can get that assistance. Now, we've delivered that in a deal negotiated with every single state and territory in the country, $14.6 billion of additional dollars, so that every student, whether they're going to a public school or a private school, can get the funding that they deserve. And that includes the deal so that they get proper support. So that if a child falls behind, at the moment NAPLAN is a bit too late. We want to do testing in year one, so if a child falls behind, they can get that specialist one-on-one tutoring or small group to make sure that they don't fall behind. Because if you address that really early, then every child can have the opportunity to fulfil their aspirations.
Kieran, I just want to follow up on that,
sure.
if I could,
Please
just very quickly. The fact is that there were no cuts. The Prime Minister goes out with this Mediscare campaign and the Education Scare campaign. It is not a truthful statement. Now, what the Prime Minister is saying is that the funding didn't go up by as much as he would want each year, but there was no year where funding was cut from hospitals or from education. When I was Health Minister, we increased hospital funding by 16%. Now, the Prime Minister might say it should have gone up by more. That's fine for him to say that. But to say that the funding was cut, and you can go and have a look at the budget papers, that is not a factually correct statement. It's misleading, it's designed to scare people, and I think it's dishonest from a man who wants to be re-elected as the Prime Minister of our country.
Well, Kieran, it is a fact. It is in the 2014 budget papers. There's line items really explicitly. $50 billion savings in health, $30 billion savings in education.
Did funding go down each year, Prime Minister, or not?
$30 billion from the funding that was in the budget before the change of government occurred.